Did you know that there have been over 400 reported werewolf sightings in America since the 1800s? That's right, and many of these stories might sound like folklore. One particular encounter actually has left witnesses shaken. Welcome back to Speaking of Miracles, where we explore the miraculous and the unexplained. If you like content like this, don't forget to subscribe because trust me, you're not going to want to miss out. Today, we are taking a dive into the mysterious world of werewolves, specifically focusing on a true encounter that might just change the way you think about these legendary creatures. Yes, I said werewolves. So grab your popcorn because you're not going to want to miss a single moment of this one. Now, before we jump in to this story, let us talk about something important, something that should be obvious because werewolf sightings have always been met with skepticism. I mean, who wouldn't roll their eyes at the idea of a human transforming into a wolf under the full moon, right? Many people dismiss these tales as just urban legends or, the products of overactive imaginations. But what happens when credible witnesses come forward with their own experiences? It then becomes kind of challenging to distinguish fact from fiction. Are people really seeing these creatures, or is it just all a big misunderstanding? Today, let's take a look at that line and see where it might blur. Turn up the volume and let me take you back to the autumn of 2006. It's a quiet, unassuming town of Elkhorn, Wisconsin. It is a place where everyone knew each other and life really moved at a slow, comforting pace. And I mean, it still does to this day. But something different began to cast a really, sinister shadow over this peaceful town. They started hearing these strange howling sounds coming. They come at night and they seem to be coming from the dense woods that bordered the town. Now, these haunting sounds became a chilling backdrop, to the residents' daily lives because they were happening. Once they started, they just kept happening night after night after night. And it was just a reminder that something unknown lurked in the darkness. Now, the turning point came on a particular cold autumn night. A group of friends, driven by curiosity, decided to take a late night hike into the woods, those very woods that those sounds were coming from. The air was crisp and the leaves, they could hear it crunching underneath their boots as they ventured deeper into the forest. And at first, their conversation and laughter sort of cut through the silence. But soon, a really unsettling feeling just crept over all of them. They couldn't shake the sensation that someone was watching them, that they were being watched. And then they saw it. A large, shadowy figure stood just beyond the reach of their flashlights. They described it, they described it as a creature unlike anything they'd ever seen. It was really tall, a towering wolf-like beast, and it was standing upright with glowing eyes that seemed to pierce right through them. They could feel their heartbeat getting faster. Fear, they obviously were afraid, and they realized, what, this is no ordinary animal. So, what happened at that point was the creature actually stepped into a patch of moonlight because it was a full moon on that night, and it revealed its full form. They claimed that its fur was dark and matted and its eyes glowed with an unnatural light. And then it let out a bone chilling growl that echoed through the trees. A sound, they said, that was so primal and so terrifying they just froze in their tracks. And in that moment, for all of them, time seemed to stand still as they just stood looking at this supernatural predator. Then, in a flash, before they could even think, that creature started coming towards them, running full speed. So They turned and they ran, and their hearts were pounding in their chest, and they could hear the heavy footsteps of that creature behind them, gaining ground with each passing second. And panic was setting in with the friends as they were sprinting through as fast as they could through the underbrush, and branches were scratching at their faces and their clothes. Finally, they were able to come out of the woods, and they were running towards the safety of their car. With trembling hands, you can imagine the driver was fumbling for the keys, glancing back at the creature to see if it was still pursuing them. But to their astonishment, and I'm sure happiness at this point, they didn't see anything, and the forest seemed really, really quiet. It seemed like the creature had just disappeared, leaving nothing behind but fear and dread that it would come back. So they all got into their car. Their adrenaline was still coursing through their veins. And as they sped away, they couldn't help but think, what was that they had just encountered? Was it a werewolf, a creature of legend brought to life, or was it something even more unexplainable beyond really their own understanding? Or was it just their imagination, their overactive imagination? One thing was sure, that night changed them forever. The memory of those glowing nights and the bone-chilling growl would haunt them, and it was a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones that blur the line between reality and supernatural. So what do you think? Was it an actual werewolf they encountered, or just a case of mistaken identity? The witnesses obviously were left rattled, and the town was, buzzing with excitement and fear because some of them, the townspeople believed them. Other people thought they were just trying to, stir up drama. They were making up, this big story. So this encounter really sparked a lot of conversations about the possibility of werewolves being more than just legends. And it's a tale that continues to haunt the area, just adding to that rich tapestry of American folklore. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a strange encounter that made you question reality? Or maybe you heard a story about werewolves that sent chills down your spine? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out my other videos on strange phenomena and subscribe because you don't want to miss out. Trust me. This is Isabella signing out.